Welcome to Evilive, the live media commentary show that answers the question, does fungus have orgasms when it reproduces? Subscribe if you're new to the channel because today we are reviewing HBO's The Last of Us, Season 1, Episode 2, Infected.
Ooh, spooky name.
What are your initial thoughts on this one?
God damn it. So good. Like, I from the beginning, I was wondering how they were going to do the whole infection thing. Because in the game, I mean, of course, it's a zombie. So traditionally, if you get bit, scratched, or whatever, you can get infected. But the majority of the time, the way that you get infected is by spores. So there's a lot of gas mask wearing and shit. So this episode cleared that shit up without making a big deal of it. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So it's just straight on zombies.
Yeah. Interesting. I wonder if they're ever going to add in the spore part of it.
I'm sure they will, maybe, but did you watch the BTS?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, they kind of talked about it, but I don't know. I mean, maybe there's different kinds of zombies that, you know, if they happen, we might see spores exploding out of them. So
okay,
fingers crossed.
Yeah, I feel like since she literally called that out as they were like walking through the wasteland city about like a head splitting open and shooting spores out. I figured that it's something that they would probably integrate later, but
oh no, there's better.
Oh really?
Yeah, like that's like tame as shit. So
oh really?
Don't really want to talk about it because
I can't wait.
Yeah,
Yeah. My initial thoughts was, this is so grim. Like there's just
Right.
no getting around. Like I was really like amped up and scared for them when they were going through it. But anyway, let's get into it here. Okay, so this was directed by Neil Druckmann. It was written by Craig Mazin. I don't know. And it aired yesterday evening, January 22nd. And let's talk about this because it really just picks up. Well, actually, at the very beginning, much like the very beginning of the first episode, we get this sort of flashback. It's not really a flashback as much as it is a setup of a global scale and scope of this infection or this fungus pandemic or whatever. And I just love the idea that, you know, we're leading into it thinking, oh, this is some third world country, you know, that they're going to just assassinate her for some insane reason. And, or maybe she gets infected during the process or something. But it ends up she's just a scientist and she studies fungus and she realizes that what should not be able to happen has happened. So this isn't exactly patient zero because someone bit her, but it's as early as we have been able to see so far to know that it is in fact a global issue. And then her response was so beautiful. Just
Jesus
bomb.
Christ. Yeah, that was just amazing. Just sets the tea down and is freaking out. I'd like to go home before you bomb the fucking country.
I'd like to spend my last remaining moments with my family before we all die justifiably. It's
so good.
It's an insane, like in my head, I think I would be like, bomb them. I'm getting out. Like I'm going to take my chances and try to get as far away as possible before you start bombing. I don't think I would be the person that's like, all right, let's sit around the table and like hold hands and we're all going to die now. I'd want to run.
See, for me, it depends on the day. Ultimately, there's some days I'd like to think, no, that instinct for survival, it's strong. I'd just say, fuck my family, fuck my loved ones. I'm going to survive. And there's some days where it's just like, can I just go home and die? It'd be so much easier.
It would totally be so much easier, especially in this world. I mean, with the infection and everything, that's just insane. I'm getting so creeped out every time I see any of the corpses laying down. It has like little fungi sprouting out of his eyes or his forehead or something. It's really getting under my skin.
Good. Yeah, that's.
But like,
it's
really,
like the best part about this is they have translated the video game so fucking perfectly into like the models and shit. It's just like insane. Like this is the best adaptation I've ever seen, and we're only 2 episodes in. And I'm already saying this is the best.
I mean, Pedro Pascal is just blowing me away. I can't believe how incredibly good he is in every, like the intensity, that he's able to portray, which I don't know, maybe he does that in Mandalorian, but it's behind a mask, so you can't really tell. You know, maybe he did that in
Yeah.
some other show that I haven't seen him in, but this is like next level acting on his part. And Bella Ramsey as Ellie is just killing it.
Oh
She's
yeah.
great.
Yeah, she is. She's just like spot on Ellie. Like I was a little nervous because she doesn't look like her, but I mean neither does Pedro Pascal. Like he doesn't really look like Joel, but it was like, yeah, whatever. I like the guy.
Yeah.
With her, she was gonna be the one that would take a little bit longer to win me over, and I'm already fucking sold on her.
That opening scene when we do finally get back to the present and she's like eating that chicken sandwich and they're like sucking on jerky. I was just like, I love this disparity. Like they genuinely are trying to take care, you know, the Fireflies are just taking care of her and making sure that she lives as happy and healthy and long of a life as possible for the benefit of all of mankind, hopefully. Though never having played the game, I don't even know if they ever get there. I can totally imagine them not. And then that's the show. It's just depression. Don't say anything.
I'm not.
But that's my impression. It's just like we are just in a perpetual downward spiral. And even though we have these little minute glimpses of hope, it's all doomed in the end. There's no way it'll last. And that's just, human nature. We're the worst. So why would it ever work out for us?
Yeah,
we don't deserve it. And I love like when they're actually like going through trying to get to the Fireflies meeting point, and they're seeing all these infected, and they start explaining that it is a network, like this fungus, and that's very much real how fungus works. It taps into like tree networks of life and everything, and communicates message and filters out different resources to different areas. And so it's sort of like Avatar, like James Cameron's Avatar, the way he's built up his sort of, I don't know, life tree or whatever the hell it's called. That's in reality what actually does happen. So trees do it. Fungus can tap into that network and then communicate in the same way. And it's just amazing that they carried that whole concept, which is real, through to this. And the fact that this infection is real, it just can't get to us yet.
Yeah.
Like it's all so grounded in science that it makes it more believable than a zombie outbreak to me.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Even with the video game, like it is all theoretically real, and it just every aspect of it feels like it could be real. So goddamn good. That's why it's so great. Is because it's not like, oh, there was a virus made in some lab somewhere and now this happened. That's like just such a boring fucking thing. Like, of course that shit happens. I mean, that's how we got AIDS. That's how we got COVID. That's how we got gonorrhea. I don't know. I'm just throwing out names. I'm not being serious.
Syphilis.
Yeah. I mean, that's not how I got syphilis. So that's a whole other story. Yeah, like it's so fucking real, and like all the consequences are real. And I mean, of course, I'm speaking of the game. Like it's just like that's what makes it believable, and that's what makes it so fucking terrifying.
Yeah, I really like the monster design. Visually, I thought they did a really great job in how they had the actors not just prosthetically made up, so it's all practical, which is amazing, but also the motions, the movement of the actors that are infected is just creepy as shit. Everything about it, the fact that they're using echolocation, I think is amazing.
Dude, and that shit, man, I was fucking like gripping my seat when I was watching that shit when they get into the museum, because that's one thing that they're seeming to translate so well into this is the fucking suspense and terror that you get in the game, because it's little tiny moments that shit like that happens, and then you get a big story, and then just every night, oh yeah, it's a zombie story, you should probably be scared shitless. And like that's what they're doing so well, is the claustrophobia within a giant open space, and just the sheer terror of like, that motherfucker's right there. If it could see me, I'd be dead. And they got it so well.
Oh, just the way that, it sort of reminded me of Jurassic Park, the way they were moving through that library or whatever it was.
That's what Jana was asking. Like, they're velociraptors? I was like, yeah.
Kind of.
Yes, they are.
even creepier if you can imagine it. But yeah, I just thought the whole creature design was amazing. The way they pulled it off was amazing, and the reactions, like the way that these actors are playing off of it. At no point am I like, oh, they're mailing it in. Like that's
Yeah.
they're genuinely are terrified, and I just
Mhm.
it makes me terrified. You're mentioning gripping your seat. I was just finishing watching it for a second time earlier today, and I was gripping my stupid couch the second time.
Mhm.
So it's so beautifully believable in every bit of the actual show. And the sets, sweet hell, these sets are amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, fully three-dimensional and explored three-dimensionally,
Mhm.
which is what I think is just genuinely amazing,
Yeah,
because that's
because
what it would
you
be
don't
like.
see that anymore.
No, ever.
You see that in movies, maybe,
Hmm.
but not television shows. And yeah, it's real. Like you feel like if you were there, you could run and touch shit.
Yeah. The relationship between Joel and Tess in this particular episode really hit home for me. Like I assumed that they were fucking. I
Mhm.
assumed they had some form of a relationship. It was a little rough and sort of like a dog on a leash with Tess controlling Joel a little bit. At least
Mhm.
that's the impression I got from the first episode. In this particular episode, I felt like it was much deeper than that. And when we do finally get to that end point where she realizes, well, we realize that Tess is in fact infected, it it hits home. Like they can't even hug to say goodbye. They can't
Mhm.
kiss to say goodbye. Like it's just, well, fuck, see ya.
Yep.
Like see ya on the fucking flip side. Like we're fine. Like there's no way to resolve anything. It's just all sorrow built on sorrow. Like I feel like if you were a zombie, for example, you could hug and maybe they wouldn't turn before they like bit into your neck or something. But with this, with the little stinking tendrils and shit, I'd be
Yeah.
coming out their ears or something. I wouldn't
Yeah.
trust anything.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Oh,
It's like you get close, and then all of a sudden the fucking little veins go. Blah, 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 blah.
oh God.
Yeah. Yeah. Fuck
Ugh.
that.
Oh, when that doctor at the beginning went like way deep inside that woman's throat and pulled out the little tendrils. Oh, sweet hell, that just got me.
Yeah. Just the idea of sticking your hand in something's mouth like that. I mean, that scares the fuck out of me. Period. And I have to do that for a living, and it terrifies me every time I do. Like I can't even imagine going in after God knows what. Like, yeah, fuck that.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyone wondering what he does, he's a mouth fister.
Yes.
It's a little known profession, but it is on the rise.
Mhm.
It's a kink. We're not going to shame. All right, so let's see what else happened here. They finally get to the spot where they're supposed to meet up with these people,
Mhm.
and they realize that shit went south.
Yeah.
And the resolution on that, I think, was that one of them got infected, and they all just sort of fought and killed each other, trying to get away from the infected.
Mhm.
But you saw that it started inside the actual truck itself,
Mhm.
which I don't know. Just for me watching it as Joel was originally sort of exploring that truck, I thought, well, what did the FEMA people get to him and like take him out or something, or is this just I can't remember what it's called, so that's why I said
Fedra.
Fedra. Thank you.
No, we'll go
Fedra
with
get to him?
FEMA. We'll go with FEMA.
But it's like I mean this. It's the same Katrina response anyway. Like, pretty much.
Right? Fuck this, I'm out.
See ya. So I don't know. I want there to be more layers than I think there ever really will be, or at least so far that there are. I like the complexity of having to deal with multiple moral quandaries at once, having no real good choice, and then just making a choice, like we saw Tess make here. And I thought that her acting at the very end, when she was trying to give them time to run away because they just accidentally like woke up by killing one of the infected, the entire network of infected, and that just adds a whole nother dynamic of terror to this entire damn thing. But when they're all like swarming in and she's throwing down the gasoline and throwing down grenades on the ground, like I would gently place them on the ground. I wouldn't like upend a crate. But to each their own. Would you try to pick up one of those and like run away with it just to see you having like, I don't know, a grenade?
Oh yeah, of course.
Or a couple grenades or
I,
something?
even if I wasn't in a scary situation, like if there's a grenade in front of me, I'm just gonna take the fucking thing, because duh.
Yeah, okay. I'm on the opposite end. I would in my mind as like a video game mode, I would be like, oh yeah, let's get a bunch of those.
Mm-hmm.
But I've actually thrown live grenades and had them explode in front of me. It's not something I want to fuck around with ever. And I could just imagine tripping on accident. Maybe like the pin gets caught on a zipper end or something, and then it's like it's all over because you accidentally fumbled. Like screw that.
I've had a pipe bomb go off in my face. I'm
jeez.
I'm used to it.
Okay. Superman over here. Jeez.
Well, I mean, that's why it looks like this. This was the best they could do.
Oh man. Yeah, that moment when Tess was fully giving into it, and that other creature saw her and recognized that she was in fact also infected, and started coming at her with like the tentacles like deep out of its mouth.
Mm-hmm.
There's like initially I was just like, oh, that's what I look like when I try to French kiss. Gross. Like I'm just like, ah.
And then you're like, damn, I wish that's how good I looked. That
like,
doesn't look as aggressive as I feel.
It's true. I'm just like, get over here. I'm like a fatality in Mortal Kombat whenever I make out with my wife. And then she's like desperately trying and slowing down because she's just succumbing to the infection.
Mm-hmm.
And at the very end, you just see her eyes sort of drifting, and it's almost like muscle memory that she keeps flicking it at that point, rather than her conscious decision of trying to light it anymore.
Yeah, that's what I took too.
It was so beautiful. And then this is something that kind of, I don't know. I think Ellie is doing a great job, or Bella Ramsey is doing a great job portraying Ellie. Ellie as a character, I'm still not 100% where she is in her head, because she recognized Tess as being infected. And then when it came time to run away, knowing that the infected were going to get her, she was like, no, don't leave her. Like, she's infected. You know she's infected. She's going to turn on you and try to eat your brain or whatever the hell they do. Like, why is she yelling at Joel when he's trying to rescue her and get away? That didn't make sense to me.
Kids, man. Nothing they do makes sense.
Stupid kids.
Yeah.
Thinking that
she becomes a little bit more logical as the years go on.
Because that again, just popping back to the very beginning of this episode, when she's like, she's going to start making noises and twitching, and then she's all, blah, blah, and Tessa's like, don't do that. Don't play around.
Yeah.
I do like the fact that we are getting the sensation that this is a child, and she's acting like a child, which is totally logical and completely makes sense, and it's exactly how I would want it to be. She's not like this adult child that rationalizes and debates inner monologues like it seems everyone else writes children as.
Yeah.
Everyone writes children as if they're like fully developed human beings and not these flawed growing organisms that they actually are.
Yeah.
And I really like that we actually get that semblance of her in this, because again, it grounds the other characters around her, how they treat her, how they react to her, that sort of back and forth that is so desperately important in acting. They just do it so well. Oh,
yeah.
Love it.
Agreed.
I'm wondering if we're ever going to see Tommy again. Like in my head, I think we might not. I was getting all like emotionally connected and tied into Tess, and now that she's gone, I'm just like, well, fuck. Now what do I do? Do I just latch on to Joel and Ellie the whole time? Like, I want more characters that
we get a lot more definitely along the way, and we may or may not see Tommy.
Okay.
That's
So,
say.
What else with this episode sort of stood out for you, or any story beats that really hit home for you?
I mean, that's really it. Like, it was essentially just sort of building rapport between the characters, and of course, we all know that Tess wasn't going to be around long because, well, Tess wasn't in the other trailers.
Yeah.
And if you've played the game, you understand that third member disappears real fucking fast. So it's nice to see them just continuing to build the little bit of the broken relationship between Joel and Ellie, because ultimately, and this is in the game, like they are reluctantly surrogates for each other.
Right.
They don't want to be. They don't want to be close to anybody. They're terrified of everything because they're of relationships because they've had everything taken away from them,
Right.
which of course ultimately ends up with them being dad and daughter. But I liked seeing that being built. I liked seeing just how massive they were going to allow everything to be, because that's one thing that really hits with the game is it is such an open world feel without being an open world.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, just that first the first view, as soon as they get to the very top,
Yeah.
and right before they start going down, and Ellie's like, "Oh, say what you will, can't beat the view." And it's like, yeah, you fucking can't. This is beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Loved all that.
Minus the infected, I wouldn't mind if that's that post-apocalyptic world was real. You know, like
Right. That
erase us, we're the worst. Let's
God,
get back to
I
the
know that's
basics.
just like that is admittedly one of my favorite parts about the video game is like I want to live there. Like I want to go squat in those fucking buildings that Mother Nature has taken over. Like that is beauty. Like the
Yeah.
human race is a fucking parasite that needs to be gone. But if I'm not gone, I
Yeah,
wouldn't
yeah.
mind.
You want to be one of
Yeah.
the last ones. I love the just the finality of it. They
Mhm.
really heaped on us from the very beginning. You know, and they're doing their best to make this juxtaposition between there's nothing you can do about this infection. It is and it destroys, and
Mhm.
all you can do is hide at best. You know,
Mhm.
get in these gated communities and just try to hope you don't get infected inside those walls.
Yeah.
You're bombing everyone around the world because there's just no way out. Like there's nothing you can do. It's hopeless. And then we get this one character who might give us a glimmer of hope, and not even Joel is willing to accept it. And
Mhm.
Tess like yelling at him, "Can't you just have one happy moment? Just accept the possibility." You know, after she got scratched that second time, I think it's so beautiful and it's so real to the world that they've presented. You know, 20
Mhm.
years, 2 decades of just sorrow and pain and survival. Why would you have any hope? You know, it would just
Pretty
be
much.
a fantasy. You know, it's like trying to chase a pot of gold or something. It's
Mhm.
not there, you know? And I love that they're just slowly dropping it in. With other shows in the past, like I Am Legend or Omega Man, you do get this thing of, no, I can fix it. I just have to find the right sequence to fix it.
Mhm.
So it's not as real and depressing, really, as
Yeah.
this show is doing it. It's next level shit. It's so good.
Mhm.
All right. Favorite, least favorite?
Oh my god, favorite was the clicker.
Oh,
God damn. That
God.
first reveal, it just I was like, "Ah, they got it right. They got it fucking right." Uh just that was perfect. Like cuz of course they did it right. You don't
Mhm.
see it first because that is the scariest fucking thing is you don't see them initially in the game. You just hear that shit. And when it's like 2 in the morning, you've maybe put a few back and you got your headphones on and you hear that shit, you soil yourself a little bit. And they definitely almost made me shit myself when I heard that. It was just great. And then the reveal, of course, seeing it was
Mhm.
perfection.
Yeah. Yeah, that was it for me too. Just the way their movements and the way they entirely, you know, presented them, and the reason for the clicking, and you know, like everything made perfect biological sense, and
Hmm.
I loved it so much. Did you have a least favorite?
I mean, yes and no. Like Tess dying fucking sucked, but also I knew it was gonna happen. Like everybody knew it was gonna happen.
Yeah.
So I don't want to say it was least favorite because it's a huge story driving point, but yeah,
Yeah.
I like her. She's a good actor.
Yeah, I totally agree. Anna Torv is amazing. What
Mm.
I think that's probably my least favorite as well. Is but it made sense, and I appreciated that they went there because they had to. Is that
Hmm.
all I was thinking was give her a goodbye hug, give her a goodbye kiss, and knowing that you can't, it just
Yeah.
that hurt so bad.
Mm-hmm.
And it's good that it hurt because it's supposed to.
Yeah.
But I wanted it so bad. I just wanted some sort of closure for them, and we didn't get it. And that's just tough. Like, that's it.
Well, and it's even like more fucked up when you think about it, but that's like real life, especially shit that we've lived through in the last few years.
Right.
Like there's people that died that were close, and you're like, you can't even say goodbye to them face to face because that could be you too. So it's just so jarring.
Man. All right. Well, is there anything else you wanted to talk about with this?
No, man, I think we got it.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this next week. Like yesterday, I was just 6 o'clock. I'm like, oh, soon! It's soon! It's soon! I don't think
Right.
I've like. There's been other shows that I've desperately loved, but I don't sit there and just count the clock.
Yeah.
Waiting for it like I did with this.
Same. That's where I'm at too. Like even with Andor, like I fucking love Andor, but it's like I'll get to it when I'm able to get to it. This is like, no, it's fucking Sunday. It's 7 o'clock. I'm gonna sit my ass in front of the TV and enjoy this.
Yeah.
And and it's nice too because it's like I did like the first episode with the length, but it looks like they are gonna alternate lengths on episodes, so it'll be it might make it a little bit easier to binge like once everything's out, because last one was 82 minutes, I think. This one was just under 60. Next week's supposed to be right about 80. So it's going to kind of switch between the hour to hour and 20 mark, from my understanding.
I like that. I only saw, and then maybe it's not updated, but I only saw like 9 episodes planned. Do you know if it's more?
That's kind of what I'm seeing too. Like when I was reading into the show time or the run time, they were kind of counting the first episode as 2 episodes. And it's like, but this was episode 2, and it even said it was episode 2.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I mean, fucking 9 episodes of hour to hour and 20 minutes. Right. I'm not going to complain.
Yeah, I just want to live here so bad. It's killing me. I love it so much. All right. Well, thank you all so much for tuning in live, those that tuned in live. And if you're watching this after the fact, consider tuning in live and let us know what you think about this episode. What do you think about the dynamic between the characters? Would you have liked to see Joel risk getting infected by saying goodbye in an embrace with Tess? Did Ellie make sense when she was screaming about leaving Tess, knowing that she was in fact infected? Let us know in the comments below. We always appreciate you guys' time and attention. Thank you all so much for tuning in. As always, remember the evil spelled backwards is live. So get out there and be evil. Clicker evil. I gotta figure out how they do that clicking sound.